Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're doing some knife testing on this beautiful, crisp March morning. I'm not sure when you guys will see this video, but I do have a couple of knives to test. I actually think there's going to be 2 videos coming out of today. So, what do we want to do first? Let's start with cold steel. So today we're going to be just putting the cold steel 4MAX Scout, the 8010 or 8015 Lite. An 8010 Lite would be really cool. And we're also going to be doing a little bit with the SRK from Cold Steel. Just putting them through their paces, doing some hard testing. Oh, and also maybe some hard use stuff with the Code 4. We'll see. So, hopefully this is a fun video, and let's go ahead and let's get started. First off, let's just test the edges as they are right now. Max is sharp. Yep, pretty sharp. Get this guy out again. And actually grab a new piece of paper. Filming this in the back of my truck so that all the paper scraps don't blow everywhere all at once. We've got a trash bag, so no littering. Sharp, sharp, sharp. And we'll do the Code 4 too. Pretty sharp. All right, let's go and pound on these things. All right, let's get started. We're going to start off with the 4MAX. And I hope you can hear me. So before I start off, I want to just preface this by saying this isn't like scientific research. This is just me goofing around. So do with that as you will. So we're going to be batoning through some pine. And pine is not a very hard wood, but a lot of this stuff, it's springtime, so the snow is all melting, but it's still getting cold at night, so it's freezing again. So these pieces of wood have a lot of frozen water in them, so they're pretty sturdy. Which one do I want to do? Actually, maybe first we'll chop this piece in half and baton both halves. Let's go ahead and do that. So the 4MAX's handle, get closer, really does lend itself to chopping. So it has a slope down here. I'm holding back here while I do my my chops. Now we're just being stupid. I'm trying to go straight through it. All right. Not bad. All right, let's get this little straighter piece and we'll baton through this. The edge, by the way, looks like it held up beautifully. So that's pretty good. Need thicker wood, but that's okay. We'll put him there for a sec, and we'll go ahead and do some stuff with the SRK. Oh boy, oh my gosh. Swallowed some tree. Well, that was fun. All right, so let's see how they held up after the chopping. So here's a 4MAX Scout. Let's wipe him off. Now the edge itself looks like it's in pretty good shape. Most of the chopping, when we're doing chopping, most of that happens in this area here where the blade tips upward. Because when you're holding it back here, you bring it down, most of the energy of that swing is going towards this part of the blade because the blade is heavier than back here and it drags it forward. So, try and get that whole length of the blade to go through. And yeah. Held up very well, so that's good to see. Lock up, no blade play, centering, still perfect, action still good. Awesome. I expected nothing less. The SRK, we're going to be doing a lot of testing with this guy actually. I'll get you a piece of paper. So one thing about the SRK is, look at how thick that blade is. Let's bring out the Code 4 for comparison. Yeah, this blade stock is as thick as the Code 4. So, big boy. And again, with this knife, most of the chopping that I did happens up towards this is a clip point, so I have a drop point. Happens up towards where the blade goes upwards. Just fine, just fine. So this is actually SK5 steel. It's a high carbon steel, and I actually like it. And this knife here is a $45 knife, which is awesome. Geez, light is terrible here. Here, we'll do this. The handle I really like. It's got this kind of overmolded rubberized texture. Very comfortable, as you can see here. There's a swell, so it's very comfortable. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Code 4. We're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm not going to do any chopping or batoning with the Code 4. What I do want to do, though, is find some aspen trees and try a little feather sticking and some light chopping and delimbing. But the Code 4 is one of my favorite knives of all time. If you know me, if you're familiar with the channel, I grew up on a cattle ranch in northern Mexico, which is where I am right now, back home for a little bit. I'm also a college student. So in the summer times, I work on a cattle ranch, my family's, and also another ranch that pays me. Work there during the summers, where I do need a hard use knife. And so I love carrying stuff like the Cold Steel 8015, the regular one, was actually what I carried most last summer. But during the school year, you know, living and working in the city, I don't really need a hard use type of knife. But this knife here, the Cold Steel Code 4, is, how do I even describe it? This knife transfers easiest from urban EDC to hard use country EDC for me. I carry this knife all the time, you know, when I'm in the city. It's very light, very slender, very easy to carry, but it also is tough enough to be used out and around in the woods. So I really, really like that. This is a fantastic knife. We'll see if I find any aspen trees. I'm looking around right now, and there's one down in the arroyo bottom. So, all right, the Cold Steel 8015 Lite. This is what we're going to be testing a little bit next. We'll come back to the other stuff. In fact, I don't even know what order I'm going to put these videos together for the eventual video. This knife here, like I said, the Cold Steel 8015, you've heard me call it on the channel all the time my absolute favorite knife. And it's a knife that I use a lot at work in hard use scenarios. And I'm really curious to see how the 8015 Lite stacks up. The AUS 10A steel is actually something that I'm a big fan of. I like AUS 10A, especially the way Cold Steel does it. So, yeah, curious to see what this guy does. I really like the scorpion lock. Love the ergos on this knife. Yeah, we'll see how she does. I wanted to, actually, I was going to save this knife review until I was actually back at work in the summer, so I could, you know, just show what I do with it all the time there. But I really do want to get the review of this guy out, so we're going to do just some harder testing. Let's go do it. All right, let's get started with the Cold Steel 8015 Lite. Where did I put my gloves? There they are. So another thing I wanted to just kind of say about these tests are, I wouldn't really consider these to be abuse tests. These are just hard use tests, and there is a difference. So, actually, that's something I want to test out with this guy. Sometimes my 8015 was a little bit hard to operate with gloves. So let's see about this guy. I'll get used to it. I'm hoping that's all staying in frame for you guys. The glare from the sun's pretty bad. So one of the things I like most about the triad lock, or not the triad lock, the scorpion lock, is that as you're holding the knife, you're actually applying pressure onto the lock, keeping it locked. So it's already a strong lock, but your grip is actually enhancing it. So that's always nice. One thing I did a lot with my, harder use knives is make steaks. And not like steaks that you eat, but like tent steaks. And I do them for a lot of reasons. Tent stakes, snares. Sometimes it's just nice to have something to hang something on. But another thing I use them for a lot at work is sometimes, because I work on the fencing crew a lot, and so we'll be going up hills, very steep mountainous hills, and T-posts. We'll find them where they're loose, where rocks, over the winter time, the snow has shifted rocks and dirt, and the posts come a little bit loose. And so when you're hiking up a mountain like that, you don't really want to be carrying a post driver the whole way. So what I'll do is I'll take a stick, and I'll sharpen the end of it, and I'll stick it in the hole at the base of the T-post, get my hammer, and I'll drive it in. Sometimes I'll do multiples, and then I'll wire them together to keep the post stable. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and see if we can sharpen this guy into a nice little steak. You find a better place to sit than right here. But I don't want to. This is the only spot I could set up the camera, but whatever. That's pretty nice. This is usually a little bit sharper than I usually get them for T-posts, because they don't have to be sharp. But this is a pretty good sharpness for like a tent stake. Go away, son. There we go. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I'm impressed with that. Jam it right into a rock. Whatever. There's the blade. You can even see it through the sun. A little bit dirty. Edge. Again, it looks like it's held up really, really well. I'm a big fan of Austin. I really am, or at least the way Cold Steel does it. I haven't had many knives in Austin, actually. The only other one I've had is the Kubi Raven, which the review of that knife has already been published a long time ago. And it's more of an EDC knife than a hard use knife. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Well, we'll just chop this whole thing in half. This should be the coup de grace. Whoops, if I don't miss. There we go. Let's go see how that edge really did hold up. Gloves are for safety, but they also slow down the use of your knife. Alright, let's check in with our 8015 Lite. So, yeah. I will say, I do kind of wish this had a stone wash, which was an issue I had with the original 8015. The stone wash on the 4MAX is very nice. This is a very nice stone wash for hiding marks. And right there you can see some of the marks, but I mean, compared to the satin finish here, sure if you guys can see this at all. But yeah, stone washes, they just cover up damage easier. All right, action on this guy. Steel feels good. Sintering, still spot on. Blade play. Not that I can tell. Let's grab some gloves so I can get a better grip on it. No blade play. Now for the real test. Is it still sharp? I'm going to guess that it is. Oh, man. So see, the thing with a lot of the testing I've been doing is you wouldn't expect the entire blade to go dull. And in fact, I really wouldn't expect it to go dull that much anyways. What I'm looking for is edge damage. Just little tiny rolls or nicks in the blade where I might have hit a knot in the wood or things like that. And this edge looks pretty good. Maybe a little spot right there. See if I can feel it. Maybe a little tiny spot right there, but nothing that shouldn't be easy to fix. Stop blowing, wind. So yeah, I am impressed. I'm impressed. I am a big fan of AUS 10. Another thing I want to talk about is the carry on this guy. With my original 8015, I had to sand down the G10 under the clip. Otherwise, it was just uncarryable. Actually, let me pick up my paper scraps of windstorm and blow them around. I'll be back. All right, we're back. So anyways, I was talking about the G10 scales on the original 8015. Very aggressive. And you can see here on the Lite, these are actually, I think Cold Steel calls it GRN, but plastic scales, and they have the same texturing style. But this knife does go in and out of the pocket a lot easier than the original did. So that's pretty cool. I am a big fan of that. I just love the scorpion lock. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's talk about the carry of everything I've talked about so far. The Formax also has plastic scales. You can see they've got kind of a, I'd call this like a lizard skin. I'm not sure what you'd actually call it. The clip, big fat clip. This guy goes in the pocket easier than some Cold Steel, and it comes out a little bit easier than some of them. But still not fantastic. This actually might be a good knife to take the clip off of and carry in a sheath. Speaking of sheaths, let's take the fixed blade off my belt. The sheath for the SRK, that's what it's called. That's the arrangement of letters. I like this sheath a lot. It's got Cold Steel's Securex, which is kind of their version of Kydex. As you can tell, I have the knife unhooked. Solid retention, not a lot of wiggle. There's like basically no wiggle, and I think that's because the rubbery guard part up here catches in the handle pretty well. But if you don't trust the sheath retention, you do get a little button snap. Can I do it backwards? Yeah, there we go. So that is nice. Nylon here, you can actually, this little bit here, it's Velcro and a button, which yeah, you do that. The sheath can come apart and you just slide it on your belt like that. And then doubly secured with the button and the Velcro. So that's really nice. I do like the sheath. You can adjust the sheath for vertical carry, scout carry, stuff like that. Although a scout carry and this knife, if you use this same attachment, that might be a little bit awkward. But as you can see here, you can probably fit most tech lock type attachments onto this sheath. So very nice sheath. I do like it. The knife itself has a lanyard hole if you're into that. So that's awesome. Very, very impressed with that sheath. So yeah, let's go and do some more testing with stuff, I guess. Although I'm not sure what else I want to do and if I want to film it or not. One thing I will say, it would have been kind of cool to see Cold Steel go with a different texture on the scales of the 8015 Lite, but that'll be something I talk about in the review. For now, you know what? Maybe we'll head down to that Aspen and get some use out of the Code 4. That's what we'll do. All right, here we are at the Aspen tree. That sun, no matter where I go, it's been in a bad spot for me today. But we're actually going to cut down one of these little sprouts and we'll do some stuff with it. Actually, I think I'm going to cut it down with the SRK. Now that worked like a treat. Alright, so now we're going to get out our Code 4. One thing about the Code 4 is it has very small thumb studs to use with gloves. So, it's one thing. But something that Cold Steel does very well all the time is their ergonomic lines. And the Code 4 is just as comfortable in gloves as it is with bare hands. So, that's always nice. So, again, also, the Code 4 is S35E and not the AUS 10 that we've mostly been working with today. So, let's go ahead and, how can I hold this so that you guys can see and I can still be safe? Who cares about safety, right? Actually, not so much safety, it's the convenience of where to grab. Usually, if I was doing this just by myself and I was going to be using this aspen sprout to do some kind of bushcrafty thing with, whether, I'm not sure what I use it for right now, but I'd usually jam it up here. There's a rock right here. Jam it in there, and then I'd be able to work with it. But you can't see that. More or less. Pretty whippy. Let's actually, maybe I should do some whittling. Not sure yet. Wasn't originally going to test the Cold Steel Code 4 today anyways, but it just happened to be in my pocket, so why the heck not, right? It does have a very, the edge on this knife is thinner than the other knives we've been working with today, so as such, this would be a better knife for more kind of controlled work. Let's say I was gonna strip this aspen bark. Aspen bark, actually, by the way, is pretty useful for a lot of different things. You know what? We're not getting a whole lot of use out of this guy. Let's go back to the fixed blade. Ooh, we've got some gorgeous, gorgeous snow up here. That's cool. Icicles. All right, back to knife testing. All right, we have to do this. We have to chop down a tree with the SRK. Why? Because cold steel, that's why. Then we're going to take this guy right here. Timber! Well then. Took me a little more than half a minute. A minute and a half. Whoops. That's a pretty thick tree. And you know something? The coating on this blade actually holds up very nicely. So that's something I'm pretty excited about. Clip point blade. Love clip points. You know, this actually, for 45 bucks, this is just about as much knife as you could ever hope for. And this is actually one of my favorite fixed blade knives of all time. I take this with me all over the place. And SK5 steel, very easy to sharpen up, very easy to touch up. So this is great. If you're looking for a survival knife that's kind of a do-it-all, bushcrafty survival type knife, this would be a bad option. It's comfortable, inexpensive, and actually it's got some pretty good materials for what you're getting. And as you can see, the performance is what you want too, if not a little bit more. So look how thick that blade is. Never ceases to amaze me. All right. You can't do a cold steel video without chopping up one of these. Let's do it. Actually, I guess a martial arts is supposed to bow. I don't know. All right. Do I really want to do this on the bed of my truck? Maybe we'll go up. Yeah, let's go up. I am not a martial artist. Oh, I messed this up, didn't I? I'm not sure we'll put that in the video as a, you know, courtesy to everyone who does martial arts, because they probably just cringed. Although, it actually might have been because the, let's go up. Might have been because the knife itself was a little bit dull too. No, it was just me. I'll go now. Alright, so for the 4Max's last test, we're going to make him chop up this guy. Let's do it. Gloves. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Alright, so we've got a knot here, knot here. I think I'm going to chop right here. I need a better system. This knife is comfortable, but man, it'll still wear on you. I'm not a professional chopper either. I'm going to tie that thing down. Got some paracord here that I think will work just fine for this. Nice. All right, let's get back to work. Hopefully now we'll be cooking with fire. That's a lot better. almost there. Still locked up solid. Woo. Woo. Whew. Oh boy. Whew. Hand's starting to cramp up a little bit. This guy's still growing strong. No blade play. No major damage to the edge. The thing that's most damaged is me. Whew. My part of my family, my dad's side, they actually do a lot of logging, and they've been logging in this area. So I learned how to use chainsaw and axe and even bow saw and two-man saw, and whew, this is why we invented saws and axes. Oh man. Whew. Oh boy. Wow. Oh man. Whew. But it did it. Oh man. All right, well that was pretty crazy. Here's the star of the show right here. This is what I was talking about with stonewash being awesome on this knife. It just chopped through that big limb, and the blade actually looks good. There's a few scuffs on it, but those are actually scuffs that I can clean off. The edge, if you can even see this, looks spectacular. It's not rolled, it's not chipped. Is it still sharp? I'm predicting that we will see it catch a little bit. It's definitely a little bit rougher than when we started today, but just a hair. You know, wow. My arm hurts. You know, people complain about the 8015 Lite being $135 with the Austin steel. From the testing I've done today, I actually think AUS 10 was an amazing choice for this knife, and that the price is actually justified. And maybe it's just the way Cold Steel does their AUS 10, but I mean, geez. That's a lot of wood. My gosh. That is a lot of wood. That is... How much is that? Do I have a measuring tape in my toolbox? Imagine I do. I'll be right back. I got tired looking for my tape measure. I couldn't find it in the first couple seconds, so I gave up. But it's a big chunk of wood. So wow. That's impressive. That's very impressive. And lockup is solid. The action's still good. Sintering is... Man, look how much my hand's shaking. Pretty much spot on. Wow. I'll take this home, clean off a little bit, but wow. Very impressed. Very, very impressed. And you know what? I'm going to end the video there. I'm going to end the video there. So what did we learn today? AUS 10 is a good steel. Do not underestimate AUS 10. It's a good steel. Very tough. Pretty good edge retention. And yeah. And it's pretty stainless too, as far as I can remember. I think it's even more stainless than an AUS 8. I think it's the stainlessness of AUS 10 is about the same as 154. I'm not sure. I'll have to do some more research, but wow. That's pretty cool. And we're going to end the video right here. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. I wasn't going to post this video. My videos are all scheduled, and I have video scheduled for a while. I might post this video this weekend. Well, I guess next weekend, because technically this is still this weekend, but whatever. I mean, this was fun. This was fun, and I'm just going to leave it there. So, again, like, comment, subscribe. I've been Gideon Stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.